Hello and welcome. My name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you're sitting at the Couples Table.
Couples Table is a live stream podcast here on this channel. Join us for better or worse.
For richer or poorer.
In sickness and in health.
As long as we both shall stream.
Yay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Did you know
that when it snows,
our 3-year anniversary is coming up?
It is true. Which is also this show's 3-year anniversary.
Yeah,
because
crazy.
they're kind of the same.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's cool. Anyway, welcome to episode 113.
Nice.
And I think we should start off by saying or giving a shout out to our audio peeps, because every week I get the Buzzsprout emails of like, oh, you know, here's your stats. Here's your stats. I'm like, I can't believe there's like 200 people listening to the audio. I still can't believe that. I don't know why. But thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
And I have been trying to be very good about getting everything uploaded.
Yes.
And up to date. So.
Yay. All right, let's check in. Melanie, hello. Good to see you. Pete is here. Parker Jennings, hello. Hey, Jay. Good to see you, Roger.
Roger, I like your new profile photo.
We were
That's
both commenting.
really cool. Looks like
great.
an album cover.
Hey, Paul.
Sup, peps?
Hey, Chris. Miro's here. I made it to the start rather than the reruns. Tom, are you planning on reviewing any of the latest road gear? I would love to hear your thoughts before I consider it.
Yes, it's definitely. I just don't know when it comes out. Rode forgot to announce that when they announced the gear. So hopefully soon. And Keith is here. Keith, I caught some of your stream. I think it was yesterday. That's always fun.
Cool.
I wish I could have stuck around the whole time.
And Chris says, so glad that you're both enjoying sports.
Sports ball,
by the way.
Yeah, sports puck. Alrighty, so
today,
making good videos. This is a thing we've talked about, right?
Yeah, a lot.
What that means, it's a very subjective term,
but you came up with today's.
Well, I didn't come up with it. I was like, here's a thing I'm feeling, and I just shared it with you. And
we've been talking about it a lot.
Well, from the creator side of things, it's interesting. So I've been embracing being a beginner in several different things lately. Yeah. So last year I started taking flying lessons.
Yeah.
Which know nothing about. Started learning about ice skating stuff. Know nothing about that. And I'm also just in the very, very early phases of learning DaVinci Resolve, which is, even if you know how to edit, a totally new application, very different. So I find myself looking for answers and explanations and guidance very often in these new areas. And it really has highlighted sort of this the only way I can describe it is a trend where there's clearly a lack of understanding of purpose of videos that are made. And I almost feel bad saying it, and it applies to me too. I have done this thing, but it's almost like, oh, I'm going to make a tutorial about this, but then not really going any further with your concept or your purpose before actually making the thing. And DaVinci Resolve is a really good example.
Okay.
Because Blackmagic has basically an entire, I would call it a college level training program for free on their website. Videos, sample project files, the whole deal. And that's what I've been using. But the videos, they can be an hour and a half long, and you're kind of going through different parts. If I'm trying to work on something and I just want to know how to assign a keyboard shortcut or how to do this one quick thing, maybe a Google search isn't enough. So I kind of need to see the YouTube video. It's a nightmare. And I have friends who run DaVinci Resolve YouTube channels, which a lot of them, the stuff they cover is way more advanced than where I'm at. So I haven't used them so much as resources lately, but so much of it is literally I need to learn how to do this one thing. The shortest video on it is 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
We are 4.5 minutes in and we don't know how to do the thing yet. And the info is in there. If I watch the whole video, I'm going to learn how to do a thing. But my God, it's a really frustrating way. So I have found myself avoiding YouTube and trying to just stick with Blackmagic stuff because it's, it's sort of the other end of the spectrum. It's very straightforward and
but to the point, succinct.
Right. They're not trying to be the most entertaining thing in the world. They're conveying information. They do it really well.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, I feel like there's a really nice happy medium. And I think that goes into the feeling of a good video, because a lot of the videos I've seen when trying to learn stuff about these new things, they are objectively, technically good videos. They sound great, they look great, the person has on-camera presence, they're very well edited. It's a great video, and I find myself either clicking out or leaving it feeling frustrated, annoyed, disappointed, dissatisfied. And I think that's kind of
Well, I
a
think that
thing.
this is an interesting thing to talk about because I feel like it highlights the uh, potential for new or up and coming creators, that there is still, like, despite what anyone tells you about how much content there is on YouTube, there's still a
A
need.
need.
Yeah. And then the other part of that is, in a world that feels so focused on like short form flashy content, there's still a place for, I'm not going to say longer videos because it's not necessarily longer, but it's like the long form videos where, you know, like, especially if you're teaching something or a concept, that's hard to do in short form.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's like use cases, but I think for especially what you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Well, I mean, and, there's some videos that aren't.
it's reassuring to me, is my
Yeah.
point.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear too. Like, the reason I wanted to bring this up is from a creator side of things. I think it's interesting because there are videos that aren't trying to teach you something or explain. Like, there are entertainment based videos and that kind of thing. So it's not like you have to. A video is only worth something if you have like a concrete takeaway. You can just enjoy yourself watching a video. But it's just, I don't know how to describe it, because we've talked about like putting the you in YouTube many times.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important thing, and being authentic and being your genuine self. And so it makes sense if you wanted to make an explainer video of some kind, or a tutorial of some kind, that you would want to do that. But I feel like what I feel like is there's sort of these two ends of the spectrum. So we'll talk about tutorials specifically, that kind of a video. There's this end over here, which is just, it's essentially a technical manual, just how to do this, click this, do that. There's this end over here of videos, which is like, I don't know, a day in the life vlog, right? Like, here's my vlog. I happen to be editing a video or something in the middle, so I talk about that for a second. Very much not a tutorial. I feel like so much of what I've seen, either of these, like if I watch this video over here, that's the technical thing, and it's not the most entertaining thing in the world, I'm not going to get mad at that. It's not trying to be. If I watch the day in the life vlog and it's not the most technical thing in the world, again, not what it's supposed to be. There's this middle ground where it's almost like a reverse bell curve, where I think on a high level you would have both, right? So up here you could be interesting, entertaining, informative, and personal.
Yeah.
Purposeful. Then there's the inverse of that, where now it's nothing. It's like this mush of uselessness where it's like, the info is in there. It's really frustrating to get to. You're putting in personality, which is cool, except it's not framed in a way where the people watching it want that. Or you maybe have put in too much, not too much personality, but too much unnecessariness. And it's like, it's a really interesting thing as somebody who makes stuff to think about, like, what is that balance? And that's why I keep going to purpose, because I feel like, again, with Resolve being a good example right now, I feel like there are a lot of people who are like, I'm going to make a Resolve tutorial about keyboard shortcuts. Cool. And then they just sort of hang out and explain keyboard shortcuts. But the people who want to watch that video, they want to know keyboard shortcut number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. Number 3, do that. The people who just want to hang out with you probably don't even care about keyboard shortcuts. They would be happy to hang out with you doing anything.
Whatever.
So now you've made this video that's not really entertaining for the people who just want to be there for you, and it's not really useful for the people who are there for the topic. It's just sort of this mush in the middle. And I have found so much of that now. And even I went through this whole thing, a video I'm editing for my second channel in Resolve is about this piece of equipment I bought, which is the worst piece of camera equipment I've ever bought, and I hate it. And I'm making, it's like the first time making a ranty video about
I've
something.
never seen Tom so annoyed by a product in my life.
Yeah, and
and that says a lot.
I'm annoyed by it because it was so close to being good, and the concept is really good. The execution is terrible. And the frustrating part is it's sort of a niche thing. It's not like an iPhone where there's a million bits of information about it. It's sort of niche, and essentially all of the what limited info there is about it is kind of just ads. It's sort of just
right.
It's sort of just like somebody who is either sponsored or got the thing for free talking about how it's the best thing in the world. it's not even that they don't talk about the downsides to it. They don't talk about any of the like,
you could
like,
tell
how do
when
I even
someone's
put
actually
this
used
together?
Yeah.
How do I like I know you had to solve these problems that I'm struggling with, but you're not even mentioning those. And you know that anyone who clicks your affiliate link and buys it is going to have these problems. Why wouldn't you preemptively go, hey, when you get this part's really weird, but if you do X, Y, and Z, it'll solve that problem, and then it's great. That's fine. But it's useless. It's useless garbage, and it's frustrating. So,
but I just want to
I'm
highlight.
getting mad just thinking about that
I want to
thing.
highlight though, because I really do think that this is such a cool opportunity for a lot
Well,
of
that's why
people
I
who
don't want
create
to just
content.
complain. I want to look at
Like this could be you. You could be the one. So okay, here's a very small example of this. I talked about this last time, I think, but I signed up for a Descript live stream where it was called How to Leverage Descript's Video Features, Green Screen Animations, Transitions, and More. And I want to learn more about this program that we use all the time, but for one thing, which is to generate captions for our YouTube videos. But it's a whole editor. You can do short form, vertical. You could do video podcasts. Like it is a very powerful platform. And so far I like it. But like, you really have to dedicate time to like not use what you're used to and then go learn a new thing, because it would take me 5 minutes to edit the same thing in Final Cut because I know how to use it versus
tell me about it.
Yeah, like now I have to go watch videos about Descript. So I was like, okay, this live stream is specifically about Descript's video features, so I'm gonna go to this and I'll just have it on in the background, and I'm sure I will absorb information over the 30 minutes or whatever it is. So I purposely am late because I know it's going to be 5 minutes of like getting the live stream right, saying hi to everyone and whatever, word to script, blah di da di da di da, and then they're going to get into the thing. Well, they get into the thing not because it's on the agenda, but because someone asked a specific question in the chat. So one of the hosts starts talking about it and is so bad at like assuming that people already know the thing. Like, it's just like, oh, click on this because that's where these features lie in the menu. I'm like, well, I know you know that, but I don't know that.
Right.
Nobody here knows. If I don't know that, then chances are a lot of people don't know that. And then out of nowhere, the other co-host is like, oh, you know what? That actually brings up a good point. Like, how long have you guys been using Descript? Like, everyone in the chat, why don't you share, like, how long everyone's been using Descript? Has it been 6 months, 6 weeks? Like, how long? And now the entire live stream has been derailed for 10 minutes to talk about how long everyone's been using Descript. And then there's another segue into, like, where you're from. And I'm like, okay. I literally clicked out. I was like, I can't deal with this. It's such a freaking waste of time, and I have learned nothing in 20 minutes. This is I can't believe like this is the only resource that there is. Like this is the best that exists. What the heck? And Tom was there and was like,
I was laughing because you're so frustrated.
I literally took the laptop and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, come on. And still great product. I still use it, but also like, it really just reassures me that if you're starting in 2023 or looking to grow in 2023, do not think that it's too late or there's, that you need to be doing shorts only or video podcasts or whatever. Like there obviously still is a need that isn't being served. And I think the tricky part is figuring out like how you can do that bell curve that's like the up one, not the down one. I think that takes, you do have to put in the reps, I think, to figure out what that looks like for you. But yeah,
because if I go back and watch, I would say videos on my channel up to the end-ish of 2019, a lot of them are really like they almost feel quiet.
Yeah.
But not in like a chill way. It really is very
no jokes, very like cut to the
it is literally just like, iPhone 8 does this thing, and you have the camera here, and then compared to this one, which does this over
Yeah.
here.
And
like,
I could tell because now it's like, all right, here's this. Like, you're so animated now. I could hear you.
yeah,
through the wall.
and that was a thing of like being comfortable going. The reason for that was because I didn't want to waste anybody's time. I didn't want someone to click on a video and go like, okay, what is the coffee B-roll? What is the the stupid jokes? What's the, like, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to get the info that is in the title of the video that I came for, and I wanted to make sure to deliver that. And then as time was on, I kind of did learn, well, if that's cool for the person who's going to watch one video, but for people who want to find a resource they like, connect with someone that they identify with, they need a little bit more of your personality to do that. And once I started letting more of my personality come in, I had more fun. I think the videos got better and the channel did better because I think there was more to connect with. But I also think I've overdone it and gone too far in the other direction, where it is like, here's a video about this. Maybe the purpose is, maybe it's a fun video to watch, but the person who clicked on it to get the purpose, they're going to have to do a little more digging than they probably want to dig. And I think it's a really just focusing on purpose. That's always a thing in YouTube where I've talked about it before. People always say story is king and story is king, and there's this whole thing on story. I always just think like purpose. Story could be synonymous with purpose, but just why are you making this video? Which doesn't have to be a grand thing. It can be because I want to make a video. And that's cool. And then as long as it's framed that way, where people,
right,
like,
the expectation,
your expectation, the viewer's expectation, that's cool.
Right.
You know the purpose of that video. And I think that's really important, especially the other thing that's so hard that I've found is like, which, you know, again, I've done versions of too, in the world of trying to grab attention, it is tough to sift through, like, you know, everything is sort of hyperbolic and extreme.
right?
Thumbnails are extreme, titles are extreme, and I'm like, I don't want like the extreme, the best, the most life-changing, the worst
Right,
of this. Like,
just tell it to me like it is.
like
damn
I
it.
kind of do want like microphonereview.mov, like, like, and I know I very much know that that's
Right.
not a practical thing, but it's all things I think to consider. It's things to consider because I guess where it's really come to light for me is trying to learn new things. I think if I go through like camera niche where I'm familiar with more stuff and I see some of the like more hyperbolic or whatever kind of titles and thumbnails and things, I sort of get it because I already know. It's almost like there's a backstory when they're like, oh, Panasonic finally did it. I'm like, that's a video about autofocus. Like, I know that. But if you're someone who doesn't know anything about cameras and you see a
Right.
video called Panasonic finally did it, you're going to be like, is this a waste of time? What should I
Yeah,
watch? Even
like
though
what?
it could be a very helpful video about Panasonic being a more viable option for people who need autofocus. And, you know, and again, there are specific audiences. So maybe you're like, well, my audience isn't people who don't know anything about this. It is people who already have that background knowledge and are coming in here. So, which is fine. I think that as long as you're doing that on purpose, that purpose is on purpose, it's good. But I feel like so much of this is happening accidentally. People are accidentally promising something, delivering something else, accidentally pulling in the wrong people, mislabeling stuff. And it's frustrating. And I feel like that is the point of view of anyone who's trying to dive into a new world of any kind. The quantity of information is vast and the quality of information is really low.
Yeah.
And I just, it's been really apparent to me lately that is the case. And that's weird. I don't have any, these are thoughts I'm working through. I don't have any solutions.
Okay, 2Steve is here, by the way.
Hey!
Hey.
I haven't seen you in, well, I mean, I've seen you on the Instagrams.
Live stream's canceled. Cody, I was going to say typed this. I saw this and I was like, are we off? But I don't, maybe yours?
I mean, we're still getting people,
I think we're
right?
still good, yeah. Philip says, I almost never watch videos that don't have chapter markers because I never know how long it's going to take to get to the point.
It's crazy how chapter
For
markers have become
tutorials.
like a default, unless it's a vlog or something. But
Well, you know what I found myself doing is like I always go to Google first if I need info about something.
Yeah.
And I just kind of assume that, you know, YouTube videos are going to be there. But what I've done now, every single time I do this now, is I go through the chapters and I'm like, where in this video is the answer to the question that I just typed in? Like, just get to it. And if I like it, I'll like watch the rest of it, or, you know, watch something else.
And it is to totally contradict everything. So much varies on the person, because the person who's going
Right.
to Google search how to do X, they want the answer as quickly as
Right.
possible. Like, honestly, in those situations when you just get the little Google summary that's like, I don't know, they just pull the best answer from a website and paste it there. I'm like, thank you. Like, the last thing I want to do is watch a YouTube video about this.
Yeah, there are definitely things where it's like I'm
don't
specifically
wanna watch a
avoiding
YouTube video.
videos. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are other times, especially when it's a creator you follow or you like, they upload a 45-minute video about anything, and you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care how much meandering there is.
See,
I don't care
that's
how much
PewDiePie
whatever.
for me. Like, I don't even care if
Yeah,
you're
I just
talking
want
about what's on
to
your desk.
spend 45
Yeah.
minutes with this person that I enjoy. And it's, you know, I guess it depends on where you're coming from, but I feel like on the creator side of things, partially it's not your problem, because, you know, you can't please everybody all the time, but having an idea of your purpose, if you're framing something as a how-to or an explainer and it's really not, that's like a disconnect. And that's where, you know, your regular audience might go like, well, I don't want to know how to do this because I already know how to do it, so I don't want to watch the explainer part. And an outside person is going to be like, this isn't explaining what I need, you know, like.
Well, I feel like it's a great thing to keep in mind, because then moving forward, you obviously have the capability to be the explainer videos, but just adjust accordingly so that it is purposeful. Like, you know, you have an audience, right? Like, you're creating content for a specific person who is going to find this helpful. So, like, do that. But then you can, you know, add in your personality, or have other videos that are more, you know, individual focused for that purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Greg said, love the dynamic of you two as a couple speaking on these topics. Well, that's because we're both using dynamic microphones.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Let's see. Spiral Lab. I've started watching this houseplant channel called Plant One
On me.
It's where she does this combo really. Yeah, when you find someone who does it well, it stands out so much.
And you stick around.
Yeah, and you stick around.
It's like easy. I always go back to Jackie, Hot Tub Lady, because like when it clicked, it was just so, there is no thought as to like I should watch the next video. You just do it. Like, you're already doing it because it's so helpful. And this was before, you know, I feel like Jackie, when we first met her, to Jackie now, has really come a long way.
It's been a little bit of leveling up.
Yeah, there's so much leveling up. And that was then, so I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Melanie, I love when creators use timestamps with descriptions so we can see what to expect or what parts to skip if we just need certain info. Hello,
Vital. Wait, Philip said New Resolve Studio Beta has most immediate. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I mean, I'm still in like the very basics. I'm not leaving Final Cut. I know there's like the big bandwagon to switch to Resolve now. I just think Resolve's neat and feel like with what I do, it would be smart to learn, and I want to learn it. But I mean, Final Cut is really great. And I really like Final Cut.
Hey, son. Peter, TC's here. Richard, hello. Oh my gosh, how the amount of live streams I click out of when they go on long tangents of where are you from? Yeah, seriously.
So anyway, where are you guys all from?
I mean, like, so that's why it depends on the purpose, because we go on tangents with the couples table all the time. But like, especially when, like, I think along with purpose, you are thinking about like the shelf life of a video and how someone is discovering that video, right? So especially if it's probably going to be a new person who has no idea who you are, and you say that this is what this video is about, but it takes either forever for you to get to the point, or you don't deliver at all. Like, you miss out on a potential person who could have really enjoyed your content and probably would, but it's buried underneath all of this.
Well, it's like the Descript
fluff.
one. It's the Descript company live stream with Descript professionals.
Like, you could have done what DaVinci Resolve did. Just get to the freaking point and X out everything else.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been more productive. And I get that, you know, let's cultivate an environment where everyone's learning or whatever. But, like, I don't know. Especially for me, who's someone that's like, I already know how to edit. I already know how to do this. I just want to know how to do it in your program. And you're it's just like minutes of my life melting away.
Well, it's like the where are you from? I see so many live streams that start off that way, and I think that's fine. Like the stream just starting, people are finding it, so it's like, oh, and it's actually helpful for you as a streamer sometimes to know like, oh, some people are just waking up, these people are going to bed, there's people all over the
Global
world, whatever.
audience.
And then you go about your thing, but when it's in the middle of a discussion, it's like, let's derail this because now the chat's going to be filled up with just country names and state names for a while. It's like, oh, man, kind of killed the flow there.
I've been increasingly frustrated with DaVinci Resolve. I've used FCP for 10 years. It's a learning curve. I'm not sure I want to dedicate the time right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Hi, David.
I'm doing it for just fun, for personal reasons. There's no pressure. And the Blackmagic official learning materials, they just start with like, literally, it's 40 minutes on how to import footage. Like it's very granular, but it's been really fun to just go and chug through 20 to 30 minutes at a time. And there's stuff I really like. I'm trying to learn Resolve on Resolve's terms. I'm not trying to make it Final Cut. And so it's both. It's like, wow, there's really cool stuff over here. There's stuff that works the same. And then there's things where I'm like, oh man, I love how Final Cut does this instead. For example, not limiting things to assigned video and audio tracks, which like Resolve, Premiere, most traditional editors, you have video 1, audio 1, video 2, audio 2, and it's like Final Cut, you just throw it all there. It doesn't. You could have 15 layers of audio here and then 1 layer here, and it's just like, to me, it's infinitely easier to just work that way. And I forgot other programs don't work that way.
Drew's here early last week, late this week, but at least I made it. How's everyone doing?
I've been wearing the Kraken hats all week.
Hey, Kevin. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I don't understand why a tutorial needs to be a live stream.
Yeah.
So I'm
Preach.
totally guilty of this.
Gil,
like
guilty is Gil. Oh, if your middle name starts with a T, that would be perfect.
Because I remember, like, when I did the YouTube huddle up and stuff, I remember, you know, there's definitely where I would teach something. But you know who does this really well? Kat Mulvihill.
Yeah.
So, like, she has a dedicated, you know, I don't know, 10 minutes to kick off the stream where it's like, hey, let's say hi, let's chat, let's catch up, da-da-da. And then she does her, I don't know, 15 minutes of this is the substance of the video. And you're basically watching her record a video. And then when she's done with that, she even closes it with like, I don't know, thanks for watching or whatever. And then for the end of the stream, for as long as it is, it's just hanging out and catching up. And then at the end, she'll trim off the intro and outro. And I think I'm actually like thinking maybe that's how I should do it, because I've been having a lot of trouble getting through lately.
Yeah, that's I've seen it works.
But yeah, I'll always think back to Doc. No offense, Doc. And I don't know if he's here, but I'll always remember when I was learning Ecamm for the first time, I know 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah.
But it was only his content, and it was all 45-minute live streams.
Well, it's funny because I was going to,
I was like, dude.
As time has gone on, Doc is also an example of when he puts timestamps into his live streams before he does the live stream, because he knows like his intro song is 2 minutes or whatever.
Oh, wow,
I don't know if he still does that exactly, but stream starts at 2 minutes, and then you can plan out like, okay, if I'm gonna spend 5 minutes doing intro, then it can timestamp that out, and you can literally just have a timer on your screen or off, you know, on your desk or whatever. That's like, okay, 5 minutes. Now we're gonna move on to the next section, and you can like schedule out. You can have timestamps as soon as it's done. They're already there.
Okay, so Keith, this makes me laugh. I get a ton of comments on my videos of people thanking me for keeping it simple and straight to the point. No one cares why you haven't made a video in a while. Every time I like watch a video from somebody else, for some reason that's the thing. Like, oh, sorry, I haven't made a video in a while, or like,
yeah, it's like I don't know that you haven't.
Yeah,
made a video.
I have no idea who
that.
you are, and like, why are you explaining this to me right now?
Yeah, I did start doing a thing in some of my videos, which I like, and I've been calling it extra tidbits. I wanted to call it TB tidbits, but it felt a little too like just too. And so it's at the video's done. Normally I would go to like the channel supporters and then the end screen where the new videos pop up or whatever. So the channel supporters pop up, and then it cuts back to just me, where it sort of is. It's not like explanations of like, this is why this happened, but it'll be like, oh, I was trying this in this video, or if you're seeing this, that means this happened, or like, here's an extra thought. It's unnecessary stuff, but things that I feel like if someone made it to the end of the video and they're still watching, they might be interested in.
See, like that's a good place to put it.
And
at
it's
the
actually
end.
been cool, like, because I think most people don't watch it, but the people who want to have said that they like it a lot, and it's like,
Right.
but it's not taking
Right.
time out of the actual like purpose of the video.
Yeah. People can get information with a million pieces. They come to you to get the info with the puns.
It's the only thing.
My job routine is killing me for a while, so struggling to get time for making videos these days.
That's hard.
How is everyone today? Any other Canadians in here? Contra points for me. Her last video was 2 hours and I was in bliss.
Yeah, that's happened to me. I've seen channels that like they have 4-hour videos, and I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
on board.
You're excited. I like to do a Control F on the transcript to find what I want in a long meandering
Smart.
video. You could do that.
I didn't know you could
Oh,
search
in the
transcripts.
transcript.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I've never even thought about that. I like the Google summary if it's going to send me diving through menus or settings. So much easier than play, pause. We'll see. So, like, this is weird, but my default way to watch YouTube videos, especially if I'm trying to find info, is I'm a big fan of L, which is skip 10 seconds forward. Like, get to the point. And then the thing is, I can't do that on a live stream because it's live. So,
you also love like 2x and 1.5x.
So I push L and then bam, I immediately change your thing to 2x, especially if it's a live stream. Like I'm not gonna listen to it in
my brain
time.
doesn't process 2x, but the funny thing is, like, anytime, because a lot of times what happens is Heather's watching something in 2x, and if I come out and I'm like, oh, what's this, she'll put it back to normal speed.
And then they sound
drunk. Yeah. Especially, it's literally like, you know, like the Logitech Blue Sona has a dynamic microphone, a built-in booster, then the booster connects to the XLR kit, and I'm like, wow, this person's struggling.
Yeah, that's 1x. That's just normal. Oh man,
this is the what 2C fat. This is the Blue Sona. I just put a different.
You should just do
it.
this.
Tutorial on puns. That's just like a brain disorder at this point.
No.
I don't know. I don't. That's a thing where it's like I don't
do
know
like a surprise. Like, do you have an anniversary?
I have our anniversary.
No, but like a video anniversary.
No.
So how do you know whether you've been doing it consecutively?
Oh,
for
I
4
mean,
years?
yeah, of course there's an anniversary. But
so what is it?
My channel was created on June 29th, and my first video was uploaded on July 11th.
Well, then you should do a tutorial on puns on that day.
I don't know that. I don't know how to teach that. That's the thing. It's like when there's those like 4-year-old. I'm not calling myself this, but you see those like 4-year-olds who just know how to play pianos because they're like a savant or something, and they can't teach you how to play the piano. They just know how to play the piano. I'm not calling myself a pun savant.
Gosh,
but like it's just a thing I don't know. It's a lifetime of weird brain.
Is it going to be your 5-year?
6. What was that response?
Well, I was going to say if it was your 5, you know, because 5 is like a milestone.
Nice.
You could have done like a...
No, because that's what happened last year, which was cool because I hit 100,000 on July 15th last year.
Yeah.
But my channel 5-year anniversary was July 11th, and I was like, oh, if we could just scoot that up a little bit, 5 years to the day would be really cool to hit that milestone.
My hardest struggle is the fact that I'm in no way a YouTube channel that does tutorial, review, or specialist videos. I do feel like I'm pointless to the mass majorities, which kills my drive sometimes. I get that. I feel that. I mean, so I'll always use this channel as an example because like every time I upload a video, I lose subscribers because it's this channel. But like going back to the purpose, like I know what the purpose is. I love the couples table. I love the people that I like the content I create. I like the people who enjoy watching what I create. But this is also why I do have specifically a tutorial channel. I was going to bring this up before, but this is probably the most one of the most common comments I get. And this is one I got 4 days ago. It says, "Thank you. Your tutorials seem to click with me a bit more than others." And like, I really like that because I don't think that there's any fancy way of how I'm doing things. Like, I don't think that I'm more equipped than anybody else, but it's like I think that's where you can find your personality in the way that you teach or in the style. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just the way that you do it is the thing that's going to click with a certain person. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that, but I guess my point is, I understand the purpose of like this channel, and because it's not the purpose of it isn't to necessarily teach or inform. It's more of just to share my experience. Then people who come here are like, that's their expectation. It's not, you're not trying to look for a timestamp necessarily. You're just here to spend time. Hi, Obs. So where's everybody from then? Norway is in the house. Resolve has a very confusing workflow. It's truly blank canvas, and you can pretty well use it your way. It's not like iMovie.
Yeah, I'm working my way through there. Me too.
Final Cut is in need of an update.
Yeah, for me, it's less. I mean, there are of course features they could add to keep things up. For me, it's like I just want to know Apple is prioritizing Final Cut. That's all. When they started releasing marketing materials with DaVinci Resolve on their devices as the example instead of their own editing application, I get a little worried because I really want, as someone who just launched a Final Cut Pro course and has used it and taught it for 10 years, I really want Final Cut to keep cutting.
Resolve can be overwhelming for new users because it was made for Hollywood movies and stuff.
And that's what as soon as you dive into the black magic thing, like, oh, if there's someone on your crew who's logging a spreadsheet of takes, this is how you would import the CSV file to auto metadata fill. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it's just me.
Yeah. I use a timestamp method that you mentioned with Doc. It's super helpful for me.
I'm sure other people have done it. Doc was the first person I saw do it, and it's cool because it's also a time saver. Like, it keeps you on track, but then when you're done, you don't have to go back and obviously most live streams will kind of like timestamping our discussion today is be difficult, but at least the basics you're doing. Doc does it too, like Kat does. The meat of your live stream is now kind of at the beginning. You can plan that out, and then from then on, you can.
I used to do that till I watched it with a stranger who just subscribed. Hi, it's Gilsar. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's my first time. It's been no whiles.
Any NLE software is only for new users. Resolve is probably the easiest new software I've ever tried after some tutorials coming from 20 years of Premiere and before that Sony Vegas.
Yeah, that's how everything is. If I had been using Resolve, I guess it didn't exist 10 years ago, but if I had and now I was trying Final Cut, I would probably feel the same way. Which I'm surprised. It's not bad, but every once in a while I do feel like, I'm working with one hand completely tied behind my back, and I just like, I could do this thing. That's why I'm only using it on second channel videos, because they're just jump cuts, straight cuts.
You have a system.
But it's the speed editor though that I got with Resolve.
I know you're very excited about that.
It is so good. You can't use it with anything else. You can't program it with Final Cut or anything. It's just for this, but it works so well and it makes such a difference. I love editing with that thing.
Does watching something at 2x speed impact watch hours? I don't like impacting creators' metrics and messing with the algorithm.
I don't think it does. I
think
it still counts as like
because
real time hours. I think.
Yeah, I think it's based off of the video time.
You still watch the 4 minutes of the video if you just watch them in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Camera Junkie
hello.
The house. Welcome to the table. I love that. Hello. Drew's going to work. Bye. Well, there we go. We're all caught up.
Caught up. Oof.
So, did you have anything else to add to your viewing experience that you've had lately?
I mean, I just, it was one of those things where I was feeling frustrated about something, and rather than just come and complain, I try really hard to take lessons away from things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, even a crummy situation, not that this is a crumb, but even when something crummy, it's like, okay, what is the lesson here? Whatever. And so it's like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated. These are annoying. As someone who makes videos, what can I take away from that? If I'm feeling frustrated as a viewer, why is that? What can I do to hopefully help people not feel that way? And, a lot of that comes down to just understanding the purpose, which, like we just talked about a couple of times, might even mean that the video isn't for everybody. So that means there's going to be people who are disappointed with it. But if you understand that creating it and you're creating it for people that it will connect with, then that's okay. Like, you know, I don't know if it's like Ford releases a new car and everyone's like, well, 6-year-olds don't love this. It's like, yeah, okay. It's not for them.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I don't know why that's the example I chose, but like, not, you know, they're aware that we're releasing a new car. It's probably for people who have a driver's license, have a certain level of income, are interested in a certain, you know, the people who want a 2-door sports car, different from people who want a pickup truck. Like, it doesn't mean the pickup truck's bad. It doesn't mean the sports car is bad. It's for different people. The problem I'm noticing is when it seems like the person creating these things is sort of unaware of this, and it's like, it's almost like they just feel like if the info exists at some way in the video, it's going to be good enough. And the one genre where I haven't noticed this is in aviation YouTube channels.
Ooh, tell us about it.
They're all great. Regardless of production
Why do you
quality.
think that is?
I've been trying to figure this out because some of them are like concept and tutorial based.
Okay.
And some of them are.
Do you think it's because that genre naturally lends itself to being visual? So it's like visually interesting no matter what.
I think that helps. I think that really helps. But there are plenty where it's an overhead camera of someone with a notebook. Like it's not beautiful footage outside a window of a plane. I think a lot of people the overlap of people who are interested in aviation and become pilots and are interested in video production where they want to create something.
So specific person.
I think it's a specific kind of person who is very good at understanding information, dissecting information, and breaking it down.
But then can like spit it out in a way, that is understandable
I think
to a newbie.
A thing that I've wanted to get better at as I've like gone through flight lessons is I've always admired. It seems like almost every pilot I've ever encountered sort of has like this objective calmness to them where it's not like, oh, the weather's cloudy and the place we live in is such a miserable thing because the weather's, it's just like there are clouds over by those mountains. The sun is hot today. It's just like objective.
Right.
And
there's no
kind of
emotional
everything is
reaction.
approached that way. And I really like that. I find that like calming. I find that it like inspires confidence. I've been trying to learn how to do that better myself. But it's also, I feel like the people who are like that are good at explaining stuff and breaking it down. I'm going to make a video about traffic patterns. Okay. They're going to need to know this information. The best way for me to communicate that is to show this kind of stuff. And some of the aviation channels do then split off and it's less of a tutorial and it's more of like, here's our, our trip, like let's say a travelogue, but like, sounds like an old school term. But like here is literally a travelogue of us going up the eastern United States in our little plane. And, we're going to make a video about what we did and the weird weather we encountered and the mechanical problems. You're not really going to learn anything from it, but it's a cool, it's not intended to be a direct tutorial. You'll learn things by watching it. But it's just an interesting, it's like a TV show. Like I'm just watching a cool story happen right now.
Yeah.
And then there's the one where it's like,
let's sit down and learn this
let's
thing.
learn this thing, or 5 essentials you need in your flight bag or something. And I don't know, that's a genre where it's just, regardless of production quality, I have found also.
That's interesting.
Yeah, not only the quality of the info is good, but it's one of those things where every time a video pops up on many of the different channels, it's like I don't know what to look for. And then they pop something up where it's like, how to handle this situation, how to do this. I'm like, I didn't even know.
It's like you didn't know that was a question.
I'm not experienced enough to know that I should ask that question.
Right.
And so it's built up a trust where whatever they decide to make a video about, I watch it because
that's good.
Yeah, and it's happened more in that niche than any of the other ones that I follow.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Action Crypto says, I have something to add. You two are my weekly content creation therapy session.
We covered. You can make a super chat donation and have your insurance covered. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But thank you. That's super sweet. I feel like this happens with new creators versus established creators. There are different rules for channels with 10K versus a new channel.
There are. And established creators too, a thing that I've noticed happens is, your niche, your knowledge area, at a certain point, you kind of cover everything you know. And then what?
I don't know. I feel like this is an interesting thing because I feel like lately I've been discovering a lot of channels that are new or, say have sub 1,000. But you can tell that they're very experienced in the thing that they're talking about. Yeah. So it's like it almost doesn't feel like a new channel because you get to the point. Like, I
Yeah.
can't even tell you, like, what program was I learning? I think it was Notion. Was it Notion? Yeah. There was a lady, she, zero YouTube experience, but, like, was so good about, like, here's the thing that we're going to learn. That's what like, it was too much in the direction of, like,
Dry
I don't even know who
technical.
you are.
Yeah.
But, like, even in the way that she would explain it, it was enough for me to be like, I only want to learn from her, and it's funny because she had like a batch of videos and then she like stopped uploading. So you could,
You see what happened.
yeah, I could see what happened, but I don't know. Anyway, I feel like it's reassuring because even now, I feel like I don't feel like channel size is as much of a like a street cred as it used to be. I feel like, especially when it comes to tutorial channels, because it's like your YouTube experience doesn't correlate with the experience of the subject matter that you're talking about.
And depending on the subject matter, if it's very niche, the biggest channels in that niche might not be very big at all.
Right. Yeah.
But it's the best, most experienced people in it.
Yeah. Hey, Ono Coffee.
Hey.
I would argue that anyone with such a specific interest as aviation will have a certain level of knowledge, while content for video editing and cameras is a low threshold subject.
Yeah, that's true. You can just go download Resolve for free or edit on your phone or something for $0.
Yeah. the amount of people who are learning aviation versus, cameras.
Yeah. But I mean,
but that's also why the biggest aviation channel is probably what?
Oh, I mean, the biggest one I know of is 300,000.
Yeah.
Maybe.
See, that's why it's freaking stupid, VidCon, that your freaking talk is how to get your first I can't. I literally can't. It's how to get your first 1 million followers.
Well, that's such a perfect example of what we're talking about.
Can we break this down? Like, not only is it 1 million, but why? And then, like, your first, as in first of a few, because what is the end goal then? 10?
Telling
100 million? Like, what's the... And then, oh, by the way, do it in 14 months. What?
Telling anybody to do 1 million of anything besides divide skin cells or something every day is a very... But this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, though, because the VidCon talk...
I need to pull this up because this just makes me... I can't.
If you want to talk about purpose and then what actually exists and there not being a connection, this is it. Because it's a keynote thing at VidCon that is called How to Get Your First million Followers and how to do it in 14 months. What the talk actually is, or at least based on all the info that there's one specific speaker who has done all these different things. I think he really blew up on TikTok and got 1 million followers in 14 months. So it's, with that in mind, what it seems like, it's going to be more this person's story, their experience. This is what I did. This is how I got started. This is when it took off. This is that kind of thing. I think that's fine. How this person got 1 million followers in 14 months. Cool. That is very different than how to get because you can't copy paste his, it's not
you can't
how
do
to do
the same thing.
It's not how to do keyboard shortcuts in Resolve where I can literally do what you do and I end up with the same results on my computer because I followed the same settings. This is somebody's very specific thing. And I think that could be interesting if they framed it that way. But they aren't framing it that way. And
well, okay, let me
I think I see what you're going through here.
You did. Okay, did you just see my face? Because I'm confused. Okay, so here. Okay, this is a talk at VidCon this year. And this is for the creator track, so it's obviously for, the people who are creating content. It's called Your First 1 Million Followers. What's the secret behind gaining your first 1 million followers in just 14 months? For Upton, it was consistency. Also, if anyone here knows who Upton is and, like, you can give any info, I'd love to hear it. In this talk, he will share how his commitment to 1 full year of consistency, no matter what happened, let him break through the mental clutter of quitting, and how you can leverage these tactics to break out as a creator.
I think that's an interesting talk, honestly, except for the first sentence. I think...
Yeah, because this sentence is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that...
There is no secret.
I think that somebody who even forget the million thing, somebody who was like, I'm going to commit myself to this thing for a year no matter what. That is interesting. Like, that's an interesting story. And I would love to hear, like, how did you break through mental clutter of like day 200 when you weren't feeling that great, but you kept pushing through? What were some of the results? Like, did you spend 4 months with 0 results happening and then things took... I think that's a really interesting story with a lot of takeaways, but they're framing it as your, like, no, by you mean him, not you referring to me. Like,
I also feel like this is insane.
Well, it's also like asterisk.
But I can't believe as like the host of this event, you allow this title to be a thing.
Right. No, I also just
like,
want to point out.
Don't we didn't how creator mental health, did that just go out the window? Because
Wow.
this is like.
Yeah. Before you close out your browser window here, I just do want to point out that you have like 14 tabs open, and one of them does say ADHD on it.
Oh yeah, this is a mighty network. It's called ADHDsocial.com. I think it's for people who have ADHD. I was just scoping out like mighty networks. I'm not like I should
Just
be a
lurking.
part. I should be a part of it because I have.
I just thought I was because.
Anyway, here's the guy's YouTube channel, which, by the way, 125,000 subscribers. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because obviously that's an awesome thing. But first million followers versus 125 subscribers on YouTube,
number.
Totally different. And like, not that there's anything wrong with having 1 million followers on TikTok, but again, to what end? Like, what? I feel like glorifying the millions of followers as the end goal doesn't help anybody. I feel like this should just not. I think this should be called something else. Whatever.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm talking about.
So irrelevant. Like, it doesn't even matter.
No, it's not. What the thing is, how it's framed sets the expectations, and then there's misalignment.
Yeah, because see, I feel like, okay, so someone, imagine, right? You're new. You're like, I'm going to invest. I want to take this seriously. VidCon is the biggest conference that's about this. They have a whole track just specifically for creators. I'm going to attend all the things. And you go to this, I think we're going to get the on-demand thing. And this is going to be the first thing I watch. And maybe it's great. But also, like, I feel like if you say so all it takes is 1 full year of consistency to get your first million. How many people here can say that they've been fully committed to their YouTube channel for a year and have not hit their first million? Does that mean that you're a failure now? Does that mean that you weren't as committed? Does that mean that you were not able to break through the mental clutter in your life? You know, I just feel like that's not, obviously no. And I feel like there's no acknowledgement to, I don't know, freaking luck.
Well, that's
experience,
why it's like,
connections,
just
TikTok being a platform.
One person's story. Just, it's not your first. It's a year of like, literally just call it like a year of consistency.
Well,
or
just
something.
call it like 10 tips this guy learned in building his first million followers. Great. There's no assumption in that I'm also going to get.
Right, you're going to tell me how to do that now.
To get my first million. It's your first million. Cool. Like, I'm sure there are things that are going to be helpful here, because we can learn from anybody. But
well, I was thinking, when you talked about a year, I was thinking
first million.
I was thinking of Cody Warner, who in 2018 did a daily vlog every day for a year. Did all 365. That wasn't a leap year, was it? Did all 365 days. In that year, started, I think his YouTube channel January 1st had 111 subscribers. And by December 31st, I forget exactly, it was around 50,000. So that was kind of like essentially gained 50-ish thousand subscribers that year. But what's interesting about it is there is that story of the, like, day 3 is fun, day 4 is fun, day 76, day 280, day 305. Like, oh, how do you keep plugging through? How do you handle holidays? How do you handle illnesses? How do you handle all the things that happen in life in a year
yeah,
and still stay committed to that? I thought was interesting. Also, from what I remember, that was now 5 years ago, but from what I remember, there wasn't really much in terms of numbers happening on his channel until like June or July.
right.
Like
but
it was,
you pushed through anyway.
yeah, I think he had maybe gotten close. I don't remember. Maybe close to 1,000-ish in those few months.
Yeah, I remember when I found out. I don't remember what month it was, but it was he had 2,000 something.
That was
like,
I know that was in the
first
summer.
digit. There's 4 digits. The first one was a 2. I want to say it was like, I don't know, April.
Okay, that would make, so that's, which is interesting. You did 4 months with, like, in theory, very little return on this investment,
Right.
but you kept
in,
going.
in the grand
And then
scheme.
by the end of that
Right.
summer, he was friends with Peter McKinnon. He was a creator on the rise. He was speaking at thing. It's like, okay, cool. I would like to know more about that. You don't have to tell me how to do it. I'm interested in hearing
your story.
experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I can cherry pick takeaways that might work for me or that might not work for me. Like, I can't make a video every day for a year. Okay, cool. That doesn't work for me. But what else does work for me?
Let's see. You're not successful on YouTube unless you've got affiliate.
Wonder what that play button looks like.
Opening session. Become Mr. Beast famous and more followers in 30 days.
30 days.
It's based on his book. So
Okay.
does he have a book? Who is this guy? I don't know anything about this guy.
It said Up 10 Media. That's
Media.
But I think it was, maybe that's it.
I make videos about tech, money, cultures, and have over 2 million followers across platforms. Okay. I can't click on any of these things. So
I might suggest a website redesign.
okay, I need to share what's happening here. Because
I love the quiet mouse clicks.
This is not it. Okay. Like, what?
Which, okay, these should be links, but if the first thing on your website is you saying, this is how many followers I have across platforms, and I can't directly click on any of those platforms to see or verify, that is a little weird. I know I'm being critical, but
I know. I don't.
that's...
I'm not gonna say it's fine. I have nothing else to add to this.
I mean, it's, yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah. So it's based on his book. Cool.
I love it.
I don't know. How to make annoying edits at 8-year-olds love. Let's see. Hey, Homesick Mac. The platform itself is different. What worked then probably wouldn't work now.
Right, and that's the thing. That was in that Super Eye Patch Wolf video from last summer, the dark side of content creation, dark side of YouTube.
Which is an awesome video, by the way. I mean, talk about something that, like, every content creator... I'm going to actually share it because I really think it's worth watching.
It's a longer video. I've watched it several times. You don't have to watch it all at once, although it's wildly engaging. Like, just...
I feel like this is very practical.
This should just come with your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like,
YouTube
here's your
orientation.
new channel. Watch this link.
Yeah, everyone watch this video. Like, if you're trying to do YouTube seriously, like whatever that is for you, I think like everyone should go into it knowing this.
Well, because one of the things he says though is when you have a successful like YouTuber, for example, explaining how to make a YouTube channel, you're asking someone who's done this weird thing once and they probably did it at a different time. So he's like,
with different circumstances and
so that's what he says in the video, is something like, if you wanted to ask me how to make a YouTube channel, I would say start uploading obscure videos about this anime 7 years ago. Like, and I think I forget the exact analogy he uses, but he's like, if you want to learn how to build a chair, would you like to learn from someone who has built many chairs and like has spent years refining and honing the process and can build you a chair today, built chairs 10 years ago? Or would you like to learn from someone who built a chair once 5 years ago, kind of by accident?
Right.
It's like, yeah. So that's why I think we've talked about it too. I think hearing everybody's stories and experiences is super helpful and interesting and valuable. And if you just explain it as like, look, I don't have the answers. This is just, here's what I did. Here's what I think. Here's what I experienced. And then you take what you will from it and don't take what you will from it, is very different than like, I got it figured out. Here's
I
the
also
answer.
understand that when it comes to VidCon, I feel like this is very similar for a lot of conferences like this, is that a lot of the talks are submitted by the people who want to talk. So
Right,
it's,
of course,
you
yeah.
know, it's like, here's like, I was going to say Heather and Tom, we can submit a thing and, you know, be considered to speak at VidCon next year if we wanted. I don't know.
Oh, they're not going to let us after we just criticize their keynote. Maybe we saw episode 113 of the couples table.
Hey, Leo.
Leo.
Good to see you. Clickbait title to get people to watch his session. I mean, I can't even deal with this title of this session.
I would love
It's
to know
so insane.
because I have done, this was like a weird in between when I was teaching and there were career tech like teacher conferences. Because of the programs I was in, we were like expected to speak at them, but not invited to speak at them, which is weird. So you had to do a thing. You had to submit a proposal for a talk or a session, which is like, can you just, if you want me to just invite me to talk or tell me what you want me to talk about. But now it's like, it's this weird, like, I don't know. I want you to ask me out, but you have to ask me out. Like, you could just ask me out. And I remember, like, you would go, like, what's your proposed talk? Okay, here's the title. Here's the basic concept of what I would cover, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes they'd go back and forth, like, oh, do you want it to be listed like this? Should it really? They didn't give a lot of pushback, but there was discussion of, like, what should the phrasing be? Should it be called this instead? That, the other thing. And I'm wondering, you know, for VidCon is infinitely bigger than the teacher conferences I went to. So I'm wondering, like, clearly there were meetings had about titles and how to frame things, and I don't think it was just somebody typed in a thing once into a form and it got printed into the schedule. Maybe it did. I don't know.
I remember Cody's vlog challenge, fun times.
Those were fun times.
Evidently, there's a VidCon coming to my hometown in September. That's awesome.
That is cool. If VidCon's in town, just
Yeah,
go
you
for
should
sure.
go. Tom, and then through the like finding Tom through Lindgren and then Heather through Tom. Aw, that's so nice.
That's cool.
Even if he didn't gain the followers, he learned and polished a few skills in that time.
Yeah, and I think that's more valuable. Like,
okay, Greg says he's got 1.8 million mindless teens subscribed to his TikTok dance channel and 120K watching his YouTube content. Are you effing?
I haven't
kidding
seen
me?
the content, so I don't
Like-
want to. But my point is,
You just told me that you're a person who makes content about tech and you make TikTok dance videos. And now you're going to do a talk to aspiring creators who are investing money and traveling to go to this event to learn about how to do this seriously.
we're gonna watch this session, and it's gonna be so good.
It's
We're
going to be
have a whole
life-changing.
episode that's like
It's
what we
going to be
learned.
life-changing, and we're going to be like, he's awesome. Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
like, based on the description, other than the one sentence, I would actually love to hear it. It's just the framing of it. That's my only thing, is the framing of it. Is like, if that goes back to our whole discussion of today.
I can't deal. I'm sorry. I cannot deal with the like. He will share how his commitment to one full year of consistency, no matter what happened, let him break through the mental clutter of quitting. Because it just invalidates everyone who had to quit for other reasons.
Right.
For whatever.
You
know,
have a crazy
like,
health issue. But
yeah.
You just gotta break through.
exactly. Are you kidding? So you're just saying that I did not have the the mental willpower.
You just didn't want to hustle enough.
I can't.
You just
It's
didn't.
so-
You could have rised and grinded.
Yeah, I chose this.
But you
I
didn't.
chose to fail because
didn't.
I can't.
You
Whatever.
could have
Maybe
rise
it's
and
just
grind,
the framing.
but you sat and
It's
shat.
just the framing. Maybe it's great. Hour 56. That video, is that the video? The video is hour 56, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's like, honestly, you'll wish
It's
it was
good.
longer.
yeah, it's good. I gotta say that video got
Oh.
me into the world of YouTube video essays.
Yeah, there's some good.
Oh, I
Curtis-
was showing how he may have the 2 million. Okay,
Yeah.
now let me just look.
I mean, I'm not. I don't even want to be critical of the person whose stuff I've not seen. It's just the framing. That's always what gets me, is the framing. Okay, so tech, cultures, and something, money and culture
849,000 followers.
plus 120,000. So
Yeah, so that's a million.
plus
But you're first.
He had his Instagram and his Snapchat, and essentially what we're finding out is the numbers, they add up. But
I feel like your first is implying that there are second
many.
and third. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway. Hustle. Do the hustle. Kevin, you need to rewind like 10 minutes because I need to tell you about this. I feel like I'm hating on the talk, but I feel like Kevin would totally... Kevin's my brother, by the way. I feel like he would have similar feelings about this talk.
So much. I mean, I don't know. Like, Kevin is brilliant on marketing and like branding. I'm big on contextualization, and you're big on like the actual, what is the, you're such an advocate for the person who's going, what the effect is going to be on somebody. And I feel like all of us have different critiques, which isn't even necessarily about the actual thing. It's like a food item in a wrapper, and it's like, okay, here's a Snickers bar, but it's in a wrapper that says it's like an apple or something, and you're like, okay, apples are great, Snickers are great, but the person who thinks they're getting an apple and gets a Snickers, I don't know why an apple is in a wrapper, but don't question me, they're going to be disappointed.
Well, I also feel like, what's your deal? Like, you have several literally several 100,000 less than a million. Okay? And you do this full time. We have a very happy life together. Like, you get to do what you want to do for a living on your own terms. Like, we have incredible opportunities. Like, I honestly think, like, I have no complaints. I think we have it really good. And if I were to go back to myself, I would definitely 1,000% consider this like totally successful.
Yeah.
But you have nowhere near a million. And so that's the thing where I'm like, why are you implying like that's supposed to be the end goal? Where does this come from? You know?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
So
why are you setting the threshold as in like you're first?
So the
million.
The super eye patch wolf video is a perfect like counterpoint to this, because the things he's saying apply to YouTube creators of all levels, but it's specifically from the point of somebody who passed a million, and because he talks about what it's like when you're like, he calls it like 1 million subscriber mountain, and you're going up and you get to the top and what happens and all this stuff. And specifically it does kind of invalidate the thing of like, it doesn't mean necessarily what you think it means. And I don't know, if you're talking about your first million, I think watching that video where it's like what happens when you actually do get a million, like legitimately, and you're not trying to cobble together numbers and overlap and things that kind of count but maybe don't count, like you have legitimately surpassed this milestone and have your own thoughts about it. It's very interesting. Sorry, what happened?
Technically, he did get his first million followers and trying to get his next by speaking about it on VidCon.
I mean, aren't we all working on our first million? Right?
Man, like, I don't know. I think the reason why I feel so cringe about it is that it's like it totally... There's so many other meaningful, magical things that can happen when you make the very hard choice to be creative, find your voice, and put yourself out there. And to invalidate it in a way that's like, well, your first million. Like, do you know how hard it is for someone to make their first video? Do you know how hard it is?
Your
like,
first 100?
Yeah, and it should be celebrated to get your first 100 subscribers, your first 10, your first 50. Like that should be that's an accomplishment to go from 0, and then now you have like people who are wanting to follow you and hear from you. Anyway, what do I know? What do I friggin' know? Absolutely nothing. I'm telling you, we're gonna watch this talk and it's gonna be life-changing. Anyway. Next on VidCon, how to edit videos for extraterrestrial tweens. There are trillions out there.
This is like the Netflix model where they're like freaking out because their subscription base wasn't growing last year. And it's like, yeah, you have maxed out the number of humans on Earth who can have a Netflix account. You can't get any more. Just accept it. But it's like, nope.
Yeah.
More.
All right.
Alrighty.
I
That was
don't
a
even...
fun chat,
Yeah.
right? Or was it not?
No,
I had fun. I thought I had fun.
I hope it was fun.
It's just, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to frame. I'm just always interested in how things are framed and contextualized, because I think that can make all the difference without the thing itself even needing to be changed.
Well, I also feel like the theme, like since we've come back from our hiatus,
Don't call it a comeback.
with the coupled stable, I feel like it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting thing to hear from two creators who are still doing it full time in this way, this many years later, right? Because like, sure, people could do the 365-day upload. Sure, you can go through all the TikTok dances and stuff like that, but like, for me, sustainability is the end goal, and I don't know how sustainable those like growth tactics are, because eventually, like you said, it's gonna taper, and there are gonna be days where it's gonna sink, and you just kind of got to deal, and I don't know, I feel like fast growth is scary, because it's like I'd rather have like a more stable path and like shoot up, and then like it can shoot down just as fast.
Yeah,
it's scary.
I agree.
So anyway, Air Fryer Emporium. Still want that shirt.
Still
At
own
10's
that
less
URL.
than 1,300 subs, I remind myself that they all couldn't fit into my warehouse.
You seriously, imagine going and giving a talk in front of 1,300 people. That would be so insane.
Well, even 200 people. Like,
No,
that's,
I know, that's what...
like, I think it's a cool thing that, like, it's not just 200 of any people. It's like 200 of...
Who chose to be... They're not a captive audience, actually. The self-selecting
It's not just
audience.
a billboard. It's not just the person who was standing there that day. It's not just the person who stumbled upon the feed and turned on TikTok when they were standing in line and they were bored. It was like, no, you opted to watch this willingly and participate in the conversation. Yeah. That's cool. Anyway, I'll get off now.
I was just gonna say, well, the next talk after that is realizing the branding potential of Fortnite. So maybe the lineup
which is insane, because why is this on the creator track?
Oh, Unreal.
Like, if it was on the industry track, fine, because brands can realize the branding potential of Fortnite. But what the hell is a normal, like...
Yeah, I'm not Honda or the NFL, so I don't know what I'm going to do exactly. And I have a feeling Honda and the NFL have already gotten this information, so they might not need to be in this VidCon talk. Maybe they do. I don't know.
I don't know.
How to make $1 million per year from a small channel. You don't need millions. I mean, that's kind of what you're saying, right?
He left his 2.8 million subscriber channel, focused entirely on a small niche, and doubled his revenue.
I actually like this story. I feel like this must be the programming directive, because I actually like this description, except for the last sentence, and how you can do it too. I can't go make $1 million next year probably, but I would love to hear this person's decision to have almost 3 million subscribers and then go, no, I'm gonna do something else. Notion.
Look what he did. He did Notion. What a way to bring this conversation totally full circle. We were just saying there is room for people to teach and like to teach. I've never seen a video.
Oh, co-founder of Nebula.
Oh, you know what that is? Is this like?
It's almost like a creator owned, I don't want to call it a YouTube alternative.
I remember that
kind of.
Legal Eagle was on there.
Tons of people are on there.
This is the VidCon schedule, by the way, Kevin. That's what we're looking at. And we just had a whole conversation about this because it's insane. But whatever. What do I know? See, like this, content protection 101. I feel like this is a very practical thing. You know?
I think it's time to clear the table. Clear my brain of all this right now.
Oh my god, this is so funny. You know who this one is?
Is it
Taught by.
From shorts to long form, the YouTube. That says long from the YouTube algorithm explained.
It doesn't say here, like, there's no way to expand, but I honestly think this one was taught by Vimeo. And I was like, how weird.
What?
Yeah,
No.
weird. Because, like, how would you know?
That's not what you do.
I could be wrong, but I remember when I looked at this originally. Anyway, we can end. So we're not gonna go to VidCon. I think we should just get the on-demand thing.
Yeah, I'll sit.
No,
home
we're not gonna go.
Sit home on the couch there. Oh yeah, I mean that YouTube is so big. When we did go to VidCon last time, one of the best talks we saw was this huge channel from, it was like a South American gaming channel. We had an amazing talk. We never heard from him or heard of him before. He's huge, but YouTube is just so big. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, it's good seeing you all.
Thanks for sticking around for this extended edition here.
I know.
You got here. It's time to clear the table. So, thanks for watching. I hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your week. And we will see you next time.
Bye.